Okay, so I'm just replacing the rear diff seals. First step is to undo these male Torx bolts. So first thing to do, you'll notice this rubber here is quite resistant, so you've got to really press it out of the way to get the socket on there. But with a bit of pressing, you can just put the camera down, is it? Bit of pressing, you can get it on there, and then you can get a socket on. I've got a 3/8 drive here, and I've got a universal joint at the end and a wobble bar, just a bit of extra movement on there. And then essentially you have to do as many as you can get the socket onto, so that's probably going to be a bit far. And then you go into the car, release the handbrake, come back, turn this 180 degrees, go back into the car, put the handbrake back on, and then do the other three. And then you've got all your bolts out and you can start to move forward. Okay, so I'm just going to crack on and do that. Okay, so I've taken the bolts out now. I didn't actually have to get out and rotate it. You can actually get your arm round this way, makes sense, to get up to the top two if you can feel your way around. So that was quite convenient. As you can see, it's now come loose, so I'm now going to pull this back and tie it up out of the way a little bit higher up, so that we can get in and get onto this stub flange, get that out. So that's next. Okay, so the axle's out of the way. I've just sort of tied it up a little bit out of the way there, and the stub flange remains. So I'm just going to take my brake bar. I'm going to try and do this one-handed. And you see how I'm avoiding this. This is the dust cover. Sorry, you mustn't obviously damage that. It's quite easy to, but with a breaker bar it's angled, so it makes it quite easy to just get in, lever on the diff, and then push it in there. It is coming out quite easily, which is quite nice. And there it comes. So pull that out. There's the C-clip at the end of the stub there, and there's the old seal which needs to be replaced. Okay, so I'm just going to take the old seal out. What I'm going to do is use this, which is a seal puller. And the idea is to get it in and the lever on the other edge to pull it out. I'm not going to be able to do it one-handed, I don't think, so I'll have to give it a go and share the results in a moment. Okay, so I've got my new seals, new set of trip bolts as well. So I'm just going to pull that out, and I'm going to try and drive it in this time with this, which is a mandrel and a set of different sized pieces to drive with. And this is not like the official tool, though you can get an equivalent Silverline or Sealy toolkit with quite a long driver. But what I've found with that is it's so long, it's quite unwieldy. It's quite hard to get things square, whereas with this I'm hoping with the mandrel and the fact that it's quite shallow, it'll be a lot easier to get it absolutely square, because the problem I had before is it wasn't, and therefore it went in non-straight, and therefore it started leaking oil. So let's give it a go. Okay, so it's in. I used a combination of two attempts to get it in really. One was this, which is the that's like the Sealy tool that you can buy, and it just sits there. Now what I don't like about this is it sits in this part of the seal, and really to drive a seal in, you want the driver to sit on the outside part, not on the inside part, because you risk warping the metal. So if we look at the one I took off, here it is. Look on the other side, you can see it's just a metal ring basically. So if you drive it on this in a bit, it's going to potentially warp it. So I don't really like that. So what I did was, most of it by hand I just put it in, and I pressed it in as hard as I could, and then I took this one and just put it on top, and then just gently tapped, and then I just kept feeling. I tapped, and then I felt to see if it was offset, and then I tapped where I felt it was more proud, and I literally did that about 50-60 times to the point where it's now absolutely flush. I'm confident that's not warped at all going in. But I hope there is a tool out there to drive on the outer for this, because I'll definitely be buying that for next time to make the job a bit easier. But so far so good. Next step is to put the stub flange back in. Now I have not replaced the C-clip on the end of the stub flange. You are supposed to, but I spoke to a mechanic the other day, and he said honestly it's the outside pressure, the lateral pressure from the wheels, the CV joints and the axles, which keep them in place. The C-clip is really a bit of a formality, to be honest. And I remember last time when I changed them, because they were brand new, it was really hard to drive these things in. So I'm not going to be going through that pain again. So I'm just going to literally put that straight back in. Yeah, there it is. It will need a bit of a tap probably. Might be able to do that one-handed. Let's have a look. And also have to promote. To get myself a driver and do that properly, so bear with me a moment. So it's in, I just had to press it in really hard with my hand in the end, just give it a good old tap. So I'm going to put the axle back on and then we'll get it tightened up. Okay, so all the bolts are in, and you're supposed to replace these plates as well, but as I only just did this recently, I have not replaced those bolts. I'm hoping this time around the seal is sitting better and we'll do a proper job. I'm just going to torque this up because these are M8 bolts. They only go to 52 Newton meters, so not that tight. But just torque them up now, and then we'll get going on the other side. Okay, so I've done exactly the same to the other side. The access was a little restricted because of the exhaust pipe here, but it's still possible to do it. So now what I need to do is top up the rear diff oil, which is on the other side, and we will give it a road test.